This program is for business leaders who want to be more self-disciplined, determined, and decisive. Stay to the end for bonus points on what to do when your laziness wins, and to see my recommended video on maximizing your motivation. Am I the only one who's both highly motivated at some things, yet extremely lazy at others? I'm guessing not, because our brains evolved to be lazy, that is, to conserve all of our energy for surviving and reproduction. That comes down to the 4 F's: feeding, fighting, fleeing, and effing. Yes, that would be fornication or reproduction. Anything that didn't lead directly to surviving or making descendants, which are, of course, ourselves, we are the descendants of those who survived, was essentially backburnered. It was something that wasn't necessary or desirable because the brain's only function, for the most part, was to keep us alive long enough to pass on our genes. None of that was, in fact, any kind of priority, unless it fit into the category of those 4 F's. So these days, most of us at work aren't doing any of these 4 F's, so our brains resist wasting energy on these other unnecessary things, like doing paperwork doesn't help us survive. So here are 3 ways you can hack your brain's natural evolutionary laziness to be more self-determined, self-disciplined, and decisive. First is to create defaults. Second is to be proactive in your planning, aka implementation intentions. And the third is to create cognitive friction in certain situations. So in Nudge, the final edition, Nobel Prize winner Richard Thaler and Harvard Law professor Cass R. Sunstein, the 2 authors of that book, talked about using defaults as a powerful way to hack our preference for doing nothing. So, or another way you can think of this as to do anything that caused effortful change. So you can use one-time efforts like this to get things done automatically thereafter. So perfect example of this would be the auto renewal payments on Netflix, if you have Netflix, your gym membership, and retirement savings plan at work, where you have to do one decision once and then it's automatically deducted. You therefore have to do nothing, the default. And more powerful than that, though, these are set it and forget it strategies, but the default is more than that. It's actually, if you do nothing, this is what happens. So it's just like the default settings on your phone or your computer. There are decisions made, but you can build default into your business. And ways you could do that to minimize, say, decision making and maximize agility in your business is by giving others maximum decision authority and its accompanying responsibility. 2 extraordinary companies that use defaults of this kind are the Ritz-Carlton hotel chain and Netflix. In both companies, employees have near ultimate authority to make decisions based on simple default guidelines. The gist is, if the decision is in the best interest of the company and its customers, go ahead and do it. No approval necessary. They realize that frontline workers are almost always in the best position to know and understand and make the best decisions at their own level, because that's what they do every day. They are literally the frontline experts. But it also comes with that responsibility for making those calls. That means hiring and training those people right, so they will have the skills and judgment to make good decisions when they are faced with them. So delegation defaults like that can save you a ton of calls, or take a ton of calls, mental judgment calls, off of your plate or off your leaders' plates. And they will save mental energy for decisions that only you or other leadership can make. So by having those defaults saying, use your best judgment, just take responsibility for what you do, given those very simple defaults, saves your energy for the decisions, again, that only you as at that level of decision can make. So you literally want to give as much of your decision power away to others who are qualified or best able to make those calls, so that you don't have to, because that saves you energy by using those defaults, and saves your also lazy brain's energy in the same way. The second strategy is similar to the first one, but it's especially powerful when helping make better decisions when you're in it. So we all make decisions less effectively when we're invested in them emotionally or professionally. This is especially true when it comes to the famous sunk cost fallacy. So that's really when we keep doing something, or we keep going down a path because we feel that quitting would make all the investment of time and effort and money up to that point a waste of our time. So Annie Duke, in her book Quit, talks about setting what she called kill criteria for quitting things, and using states and dates. That was the words she used for that. Charles Duhigg talked about if, when, then statements in Smarter, Faster, Better, and Katie Milkman calls them implementation intentions in her book How to Change. So all three are basically different wording about the same basic thing, that is pre-planning. If this kind of decision happens in this situation, I already have that first step or first few steps decided before I'm emotionally or otherwise invested, which compromises my judgment in that moment. So deciding ahead of time what you'll do if something probable or unexpected happens. So if we say combine Duke's and Duhigg's approaches, it might be something like this. When something completely unexpected, like COVID-19 happens, or anything that has an overwhelming effect on our business, we will send an immediate email to inform all relevant stakeholders, arrange for an emergency meeting, and take the next 24 hours or more to reflect on the next step before making further decisions or taking further action. So when something surprising happens, have a plan, a prefabricated decision in place. It's like emergency training for your brain. You know, you have fire drills. This is like a fire drill, a cognitive fire drill for your brain, so that you know what to do when that happens. Instead of panicking or thoughtlessly, say, firing a massive portion of your workforce, you've already decided your immediate next step. That saves your always limited mental resources. It keeps you from making, or it keeps you making more rational decisions by doing that decision making, that plan ahead of time and outside of the emotionally charged moment. Third is to create cognitive friction to discourage an undesirable decision or behavior. For example, I love McDonald's sausage McMuffin with egg breakfasts. So much so that I usually, when I get them, I get two, and I, of course, eat two. They're a ton of calories, and it's all junk food, as delicious as it is. So to save me from myself, recently I've been trying a simple strategy based on what I'm talking about, and that is I get just one meal instead of two, so that I'm essentially forced to go back to McDonald's again if I want a second one. I go get it. It's only minutes from my house. I go get it. If I order one and I bring one back and I eat it, I still have time to go back and get another one, but I have to get off my lazy butt and decide that I really need a second junk food breakfast and doubling the calories. I have to go through or overcome that extra friction, which I've now specifically designed into my process. So by making that adverse behavior more inconvenient, I'm less likely to go back for seconds. You can use the same strategy to lead your business. Create systems to make, to make doing attractive behaviors easier, or more rewarding than doing unwanted ones. For example, whenever possible, it's easier to complete an important task immediately rather than scheduling it for a later date. According to research, switching tasks can cost up to 40% of our productive time. I'll put a link in the description to that video. And restarting likely has an even higher cost since we've forgotten where we left off. We not only have to reinitiate the task, but we also have to say, where were we? What were we doing? What were those steps that led right up to that task? So that's going to cost some time too. And plus that, we also need time to complete the original task. So we haven't saved time of the original task. We've added the time. We're essentially eliminating 2 steps by doing it immediately if it's possible, if we have the time available. It avoids 2 of 3 steps. First, scheduling it is time we needn't have spent at all. Putting it in our schedules, figuring out where that fits, is time we don't need to spend if we can do it immediately because we don't need to schedule it. And second, getting back up to speed, remembering all the things that we've forgotten between the time we identified this necessary task and now that we're doing it, now that we're revisiting it. So thank you for watching this far. We're already at the bonus points, and that is about what to do when laziness wins. The dark side of our initial the dark side of our innate laziness is that it sometimes wins. In fact, it will win every time by default unless we make conscious or mindful choices otherwise. When it does, how we respond to that victory of laziness really matters. The best reaction or response that I know of is first, learn as much as you can so that you can use it to improve future results. That is, go, okay, I tried this, it didn't work. What can I learn from that to make those results better in the next time something like this happens? The second is to let it go. It's the hot rock that is not doing you any mental favors by ruminating on it. So let it go immediately and essentially forgive yourself for being human and therefore imperfect. Any obsessing over past mistakes is a harmful waste of time and compromises both your motivation and your mindset. So that's it for the main part of this video. And then the last part is to really upgrade your productivity and decision-making. Click the link in the description for my $397 per month mastermind group, which is going to be free for the next 3 months, but only for a limited time. After that, the price goes up continuously over time until it reaches full price. And watch my recommended video on motivating yourself and others by clicking here or in the description. That's it for Crush It Club 301, 3 ways to leverage laziness and be more productive. My name is Tim B. Green. Bye for now.